Good evening, parents and guardians. Welcome to the Selma High School Back to School Night for Agriculture Science, Soil, and Chemistry class. My name is Robert Calvert, and I'm one of the 3 ag education teachers here at Selma High School. Contact information: if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me. This is going to be the best form of contact. My email is rcalvert@selmausd.org. This is the best form, and I do check my emails very regularly, and I do reply in a pretty quick manner. Number 2 is a phone. You can call the Selma High School phone number, and my extension is 41101. However, I'll be honest that we do spend a lot of time either on the ag farm or the ag shop, so I don't always get those phone calls. And so the other thing too is, I'm not always checking voicemails quite as much as I do check my emails. Parent Square is also available. If you need to know how to access that, you can have a direct account, or it is available through your Aeries Communications tab. Parent Square, you can message direct to any of the teachers, and we do get that. We get it through our email, and so again, that's a pretty reliable and pretty quick access. Next up is the Aeries Parent Portal. So some of the tools that are available for parents to help your students is we have Aeries Parent Portal, and we also have a Google Classroom. First one, Aeries Parent Portal, is your number one tool as a parent to keep track of your student, both grades and attendance. You can access and see what their grades are as they're being graded. You can see any assignments that are due. And you can also check their attendance for tardies or unexcused absences as well. So it's really, really important that you have an Aeries Parent Portal set up so you can view that. The other thing is, when you set up your Aeries Parent Portal, you will also log in an email that we will have updated and uploaded to our portion of Aeries. The reason why that's important is because I will send out grade reports sometimes, every few weeks till months when it's a good time, and also during each grading period. I'll send those reports out, and it'll get directly emailed to you. That way you're not having to wait for your progress reports in the mail for your student, and you get a real itemized accounting of what their grades are and why their grades are what they are. So having a parent portal is extremely important, and having an up-to-date email on that is also just as important. And again, access to Parent Square via your Aeries Parent Portal is also available. If you need help setting up that Aeries Parent Portal, you can access, I'll put the link below in the description of the video, and then you can also access this through the selmausd.org website. Under the Parents tab, there is a clickable icon for you to set up your Aeries Parent Portal. You'll fill out a form and send it to our IT department, and they'll get that set up for you. Next tool is Google Classroom. All of our students have Google Classroom set up. They do have access to it. This will give you similar access, and will also give you up-to-date information and announcements on assignments. One thing I will say is that this year, when we're back in person, students are going to be turning in assignments in person for the majority of the time. There will be assignments that they will turn in through Google Classroom, but right now what we're really using the Google Classroom for is for students that are on independent study or have absences. It's really big right now as we're dealing with a lot of students that are out because of COVID. Students that are out or absent, they can access Google Classroom and turn in any assignments through Google Classroom. That way they're not falling behind. So one thing I will say is, if you do add the Google Classroom for parents, just understand that just because it says that it's a missing assignment in Google Classroom doesn't necessarily mean that your student hasn't turned it in person. So that is one thing I will ask for a little bit of leniency, especially on your students, on your kids. Really what I would really suggest paying attention to is your Aeries. The Aeries is the most important one to look at, and that's the grade that really counts for the class. Next, we're going to look at the ag department at Selma, and this class in particular. So first off, we're going to see that the Ag Education three-circle model is what we implement here at Selma. We have a very equal importance on classroom, SAE, and FFA. Now, classroom, that's pretty self-explanatory. That is the work that we do here in the classroom. And for this class, it also includes the chemistry labs that we'll be working on both inside the classroom and on the school farm. We also include SAE and FFA as a part of the class. Under Public Law 740, we can actually grade students based off of their participation in SAE and FFA, even though a lot of those activities are going to be outside of the normal class time. So that's one thing to understand. And when we go over the grade specific for this class, again, FFA and SAE are going to be a graded portion. Now, the reason why it's so important that we do that is because they have a lot of advantages for our students. SAEs are going to do a tremendous job in preparing students for entrepreneurial or job placement skills. And then FFA really works towards personal growth, premier leadership, and career success. The next up is looking up at the three pathways that we have within the agriculture department at Selma High School. First pathway here on the left side is the Ag Mechanics pathway. The middle one is our floral design pathway. This is good for UC CSU approved art credit, fine art. And then our pathway on the right is the agri-science pathway. This is the pathway that your student in this class is a part of. We have changed up our classes on our science pathway quite a bit over the summer and from last spring. Your student is in the first year of our Ag, Soil, and Chemistry class. This Ag, Soil, and Chemistry class is a UC CSU approved class for the D Science credit. So that chemistry lab credit will be accomplished through this soil and chemistry class. And then their biology class from last year still counts as well. The next class that they would participate in is going to be vet science. And as you see from the picture here on the side, students that participate in FFA classes all 4 years get a secondary sash, an FFA sash to wear during graduation. Next one is, it's a little harder to see, but we see these two students right here with a blue and yellow cord. This is for students that earn their state degree. So we have some opportunities for students to earn some extra awards, especially during graduation. So something to be extra proud of. The next thing we're going to start on and cover is going to be the syllabus for the class, and just kind of overview of the actual soil and chemistry class. What we're going to be looking at is the syllabus information that many of you have signed. And if you haven't signed, please ask your student so that you can sign it, and that is actually going to count as one of their assignments. For the syllabus, once again, this is a UC CSU approved class under the D Chemistry Lab Science credit. So not only do students earn their science credit for graduation, but they will also earn credit in order to apply and earn enrollment at a UC CSU college. The description for the class, an overview of the class, is that students are going to explore the physical and chemical nature of soil, as well as the relationships between soil, plants, animals, and agricultural practices. Students will examine properties of soil and land and their connections to plant and animal products. Using their knowledge of the scientific protocols as well as course content, students will develop an agri-science research program to be conducted throughout the course. Additionally, students will develop and present a capstone soil management plan for agricultural producers using the content learned throughout the course. So once again, we are going to also be having a agri-science fair. This will take place in May, and so students will be presenting their agri-science project that they produce in this course at the agri-science fair, as well as any other SAE projects that they would like to present. Next is supplies. It is important for all students to have a dedicated spiral-bound college-ruled notebook. This is for students to use just in this class. They're going to be taking their notes. They're going to be working on assignments. They're going to be working on project labs out of that notebook. So for that, I need to be able to collect them and grade those notebooks. Well, for me to do that, it's going to take me a few days to be able to go through all of the classes and grade those notebooks. Therefore, it's best for students to have an individual notebook for this class. That way, they aren't missing out on any of the notes that they have from other classes. So if students have not purchased that, please do so as soon as possible. Going over the units that we will cover, one thing that I do want to emphasize is that this course, even though we're looking at chemistry through the lens of agriculture and soil and water, we are still going to be covering the same materials that any other normal chemistry class, non-agriculture chemistry class would cover. And so we're still looking at structures and properties of matter, chemical bonding and reactions, matter, energy, and equilibrium, organic and nuclear chemistry. On the agricultural side, we're going to really take an in-depth look in the soil and water science of agri-science practices, the nature of soil, water and soil management. They'll have that capstone project, and then also look at how agriculture impacts with animal and soil management and soil sustainability. Next is the grading. We use a weighted grading system primarily just so we have some different sections of their grade. 80% majority of their grade is going to come from just their overall homework, classwork, tests, quizzes, and labs. That's going to be the primary thing. We do have 10% for class and lab participation, primarily on the lab participation, just that way we can make sure that students are earning the credit for the work that they're actually doing, whether it's a lab here in the classroom or out on the farm. The last but not least, and this is highlighted in bold, is that 10% of their grade is in FFA and SAE. Obviously, by now, this is now your student's third year in an ag class. And so we just want to reemphasize and again state that 10% of their grade based off of FFA and SAE participation, in which they need 6 points per semester. As I talk about it here in a little bit, there's more than enough opportunities for students to earn those points both during school and after school. And normally we have somewhere between 12 and 15 activities or activity credit possibilities per semester. Looking at the policies of the class, as far as grading, you'll notice that absences, this is pretty basic and works around with every other class. The students will have 1 day per day that they were absent. So they missed 5 days, they get 5 days to make up their work. We are, again, utilizing Google Classroom, so even if a student is absent, they can still, or on independent study, they can still access Google Classroom, still get the same instruction, and still turn in those assignments. But they will get a little extra time if they need it. Late work, for me, late work is the only thing that's fair is to have half credit for late work. My philosophy is it's not fair for a student to be able to have extra time and turn in something beyond the due date and still get the same amount of credit possible that someone that did do the work and did finish it on time. Now, obviously, it's still better for students to turn in work even if they did miss a deadline because it's still worth some credit. And normally I try and make it as worthwhile for the students as possible. The only other thing that we do with late work is, again, that we can't have it accepted all at the end of the semester. I mean, to be quite honest, there wouldn't be enough time in the day if I accepted all late work in December to be able to do all of that grading and then prepare the finals, prepare students for finals, and then get all that grading done as well by the end of the semester. It's just not, humanly possible. So what I do is students have 6 weeks from the due date. So from the day that it's entered into into Aeries, they have 6 weeks to make it up. After that, no more late work. And it usually works out to about a grading period. So whatever you see on a grading progress report, you have until the next progress report to get that turned in. After that, unfortunately, it's just not logical to be able to turn that in that late. Last but not least is tardies. I take tardies very seriously just because when we talk to employers, one of the big things is soft skills, and having students that are reliable and show up on time is still something that we really see as a big importance when we talk to those future employers. So what I do is with my class, students are on time when they're in their seats, ready to learn, ready to work on a lab, ready to learn that assignment. If they're not in their seat, they're late. So it really is a big push. 9 times out of 10, I am outside my door waiting for them to come in, trying to give them that extra encouragement. We have our secretary goes on the announcements, and 1 minute before the bell rings, she's on there telling them a warning. So they have more than enough warning. They have more than enough time to walk across campus if they need to. I've timed it. You can make it between even the band room all the way to my room, all the way across campus in less than 5 minutes. As far as rules for my class, I have 3 simple rules. They all start with respect. Respect yourself, respect others, and respect your environment. So far, we have a pretty good set of students. I don't see this being a big issue other than, maybe the occasional, excess talking, excess um, off-task issues. So, whether it's disrespecting your ability to learn when you're off task or disrespecting others' ability to learn by trying to get others off task. That's about it. The other thing is respecting the environment. We're going to be working with some expensive lab equipment, and so make sure students understand and give that same respect to the equipment that we purchase here at the high school. As talked about, again, FFA and SEE, extremely important. This is another big one. Again, we really stress this to our parents that 10% of their grade is coming from FFA activities. One of the major things is every month at the end of at the last Thursday of every month, we have an FFA meeting. Generally, they're going to be either in our ag park when the weather is good or in the cafeteria. Generally, they are at 5 o'clock for students. We do have one coming up on the 30th of September. That is a parent barbecue. That's where you're invited to come and actually participate and see what the FFA meetings are about. Students actually get an extra FFA point if you do attend. That one's going to be at 6 o'clock. Just that way we give parents and guardians a little extra time to get home, get any siblings situated, and siblings are welcome to attend as well. Again, FFA and SAE, one of the reasons that makes agriculture classes so special is the FFA and SAE portion, and it really is a true benefit for the students. It really helps to, develop their leadership, their personal growth, career success, and they have some opportunities for competitions. So students will be able to participate in career and leadership development events in which we actually compete all up and down the state at various colleges. Again, this is just a little bit more in depth. You're more than welcome to pause it, pause the video here, take a look, read it in depth. This is directly out of the syllabus. This is also accessible at their Google Classroom. So if you join the Google Classroom as a parent, you'll have access to this as well. This is an example of the students that we have within the FFA. This was our last FFA picture for the yearbook before COVID hit. So this was literally the week before COVID shut us down. But students that all they had to do was come for 5 minutes, get their picture taken for the yearbook, and they got an FFA point. So, I mean, it's simple. No reason for students not to be able to get their FFA points. Last but not least is how do you find Selma on the line? So we have a couple options for students and parents to stay connected with the Selma FFA and Agriculture Department. We have all 3 major social media accounts. Instagram and Twitter is at Selma_FFA_. And it's important to have that last underscore. We did have Selma_FFA. The problem was we had students that were managing it and we have not been able to recover the passwords. So we had to create new social media accounts. Selma FFA on Facebook. You can also give us a like and a follow. And anytime we have FFA activities or FFA meetings, we will post that information on our social media accounts. As far as websites go, we do have a website dedicated for Selma FFA, selmaffa.org. There is a Google Calendar that is linked on there, and so you can see all FFA activities that are coming up. We have students and parents that are more than welcome to see that, as well as be able to get an overview of what our program looks like. Last but not least, is the SelmaAgBoosters.com. We have a parent club that is dedicated towards fundraising for FFA and agriculture students. The parent club, Selma Ag Boosters, fundraise and raises tens of thousands of dollars every year for money that goes directly to your students, to the FFA students. So that pays for field trips, pays for huge one is scholarships. So for students that stay in ag all 4 years, they're going to have a huge opportunity for scholarships. And one of those big ones is through the Selma Ag Boosters. And then also they help to pay for activities and students when they go for FFA competitions, as well as paying for FFA jackets for students that compete, either showing livestock or FFA competitions. So it's really big, worthwhile opportunity to be able to help fundraise for your student and for the fellow students within the FFA program. I hope I've covered enough, and if you have any other questions, like I said, underneath in the description of this YouTube video will be some links as well as my contact information, primarily the email. Hope you have a great night. Thank you, and as always, please feel free to contact me anytime via email. Thank you.